So I love this topic. I love this conversation. And it was a very popular one. So we had lots and lots of people register for this one. And I look forward to sharing what I've learned over the last 20 odd years and how I apply it now in business, excuse me, when we're working with leaders and teams, how we apply those coach-like skills in business, because that's why you're here. Yes, I imagine. All right. So if you're here for the first time, I welcome you and thank you for jumping in and trusting maybe who referred you. We have a lot of people share our work and share these webinars because they're a great way to get a taster of what I do, what my team and I do, and also to take some value away. So welcome if you're here for the first time. If you're here and you've been here before, maybe you've been all the way through. We've been doing these online webinars for a couple of years now, since 2020, at the start of 2020 when everything changed, and in our world around how we connect and be together. And so thank you so much for being here and being part of this community. I call this the breakfast community because, obviously it's early in the morning, and someone said to me, but where's the breakfast, Karen? Why aren't you providing breakfast? So no, it's not that, but I hope you do enjoy your coffee if you are having one, or a tea right now. But because it's early in the morning, I acknowledge you for jumping up, getting on this webinar and getting ready to learn something new. So these webinars are actually workshops. They're not a little bit of information and they're not trying to sell you into the next program. They're high value, high paced, ready for you to take some gold nuggets from what I share or maybe what someone else shares in the chat box. So make sure you've got a notebook and pen and you're ready to write down some things that you might hear or see that will be helpful for you immediately if you apply them today or next week. So in the chat box, if you change your settings to everybody. So sometimes when we share in the chat box, which we love to do, and I'll ask you to do that today, I'd like to hear your thoughts on things, what's connecting for you. You might have some questions for me and I will attempt to answer them as well. But if you'd like to change your settings to everyone, then if I don't get to your question or if I don't see your amazing comment or your gold nugget, then everybody else will see it and that will be helpful for everyone. So I invite you to do that and share through the session. I know there's a lot of people who have jumped on or registered for this session that haven't been around for a little while. So maybe you're kicking back into gear this year, or maybe you just feel like it's time to jump back into this conversation. It's great to fill our brain with some great tools and then go away and practice them and then come back. And I highly support that. So if you've been away for a while and you're back, I welcome you as well. So this is a community that does the work. And the work is about self-leadership first, understanding where we're coming from, our triggers, what's happening inside our head, and being able to control that. Because often as human beings, we focus on things like that we can't control, like traffic or the weather or what's happening overseas or when the next lockdown would be last year, right? Hopefully there will never be any more of those. But those kind of things that when we focus on we can't control, they cause a lot of stress in our body, don't they? And in our mind, it could create a bit of fog as well and also distract us from what's really important. So these workshops help you really focus on what is important. And therefore, my expectation is that you'll take something and apply it and make a difference in your day and the lives of those around you and their day. So that's why I'm here. That's why I show up to these sessions, and because I know that you'll go away and try something. All right, so I'd like to see who's here and let me have a look at some of your messages. So good morning, Jazz. Lovely to see you. Great to see you yesterday face-to-face. How good are face-to-face meetings now, everybody? We're having coffees, we're getting connected, we're meeting in the same physical space. It's pretty cool, huh? Jackie's here, Leanne's here. Hi, Jackie. Another Jackie. Hi, Jackie from Sydney. Alessandra, lovely to see you. Leanne, thank you so much for being here. Marilyn, hi, nice to speak to you yesterday as well. I'm excited for your journey ahead. You can all hear me, fantastic. Lisa's here, Manarani's here, or Manny or Mano, I think I call you. Is that right? Please let me know. Jade, I can't wait to meet with you next week. I'm looking forward to that conversation. Thank you for being here. Vicky, hello. Oh, hi, Wyatt. Mwah, mwah, love to you. I feel like I haven't seen you both for a long, long time. And Nat's here. So Nat's going to be checking out the chat box as well and highlighting any questions that I might miss, and also encouraging you to change your settings in your chat box to everybody. Hi, Michael. Nice to see you. Thank you for being here. Tracy's here. Jennifer's here. Hi, Jen. Nice to see you. So many wonderful people here. Pooja, thank you for being here. and also Alison. So I love that you're all here. Thank you so much. So my vision is about a ripple effect. So when you're showing up doing this work, what does that mean for the ripple effect that you have in a moment, in your day, in your life? For me, it's about the conversations that count and that are worth having and worth our energy and time. And then it's about how those conversations impact other people. And to me, wouldn't want to be anywhere else. So I invite you to think about, what are the conversations I'm having? How am I showing up? And how can I learn from today's session about how I want to be and who I want to be? Yeah, very cool. So if you don't know what we do, we work with leaders and teams in organizations, medium to large organizations and corporates, in how to build trust and environments that are safe, where people feel that they can lean in and have those brave conversations and can say, you know what, I don't have it handled right now. I know that you expect me to have it handled, but I don't. Can you help me? And not feel judged or feel ostracized from the group or the team or the culture, to feel actually like more supported because they've been real and authentic and been able to be human and imperfect. Because the more energy we spend on trying to be perfect, the more shut off we are from ourselves and from others and from what's really important in our lives, our well-being, and the results that we could be achieving. So we're all about brave conversations in our work. And I've been doing this work now with leaders and teams specifically for 10 years, and I've been a coach for over 20 years. So, and I'm learning every day. I'm still triggered. I still mess up. I still say things and wish I had said them better, like that. I wish I could say them better sometimes. And, you know, there's things that I reflect on every day and go, you know, next time I'll do that differently. What if I had said this? And yeah, for me, as a recovering perfectionist, maybe some of you are as well, there's a line, isn't there, between, you know, reflection and over-analysis. And for me, that's a fine line that I dance a lot of the time. And maybe that's the same for you. And so I think reflection is really healthy. How could we do it better? But when it flips into that over-analysis, that's when it starts to really wreak havoc with our body. And that's not worth going there. So come back from that place and just focus on reflection. All right, so I'm keen for you to write down firstly, what is it that you're wanting to get out of today? Knowing that this topic is about being more coach-like, what we're going to cover is what it isn't, why it's important, what it is, and I'm going to give you a model that's got 7 key headlines and a couple of points under each. And it's a framework that I use every day. It's really the basis of my work. It's something that's come together through my years of experience. And then we're going to look at how you can apply that. Yes? So take down just for a moment, what is it that you want to learn from today? I'll give you a moment to reflect on that. Enjoying reading your comments while you do that, Alison. Thank you. They do need a refresh, actually. We need to start to reflect on that one and see where we're at. And Sandra, lovely to see you. Yes, hopefully thought-provoking for you. So please share now in the chat box, because everyone learns from you and you will learn from everyone. So please pop in the chat box what's one thing you want to get out of today that will help me know that I'm on track with giving you what's valuable. So please do that. So just type it in the chat box. What is the one thing you want to get out of today from a coach-like perspective? Is it about more listening? Is it about knowing how to ask better questions? Is it about just making the time to be a coach? What is your one thing that you want to take away from today? There's a woman I was working with recently, really fantastic, passionate woman, great leader and manager, expert at what she does, loves her work. And she's been practicing this work. I've been working with her in a leadership program for about, I guess, 12 months. And she's been doing amazing work, really showing up, really taking on the tools and frameworks and practicing them. And she reached out a few weeks ago with one particular area that wasn't really clicking or gelling or working for her. And it was with a particular person in her team. And I asked her what are the things that she'd been practicing so that I could really tune into what had she implemented and what hadn't worked. And so she listed off a great list of 5 or 7 things of the tools and frameworks that she'd been practicing in her relationship with him as leader, and which I acknowledged was fantastic that she'd been in action. So we jumped on a phone call, and talked about, okay, so what's really in the way here? And as this amazing leader started talking and sharing, I could hear that she was really stuck in trying to encourage this person and cheer him on and barrack him along and try and motivate him. Yes, and she was using some great words and some referencing some great tools, but it wasn't connecting for this person. This person was continuing to just behave in the way that he always had. And not that he intended to behave in a way that wasn't a fit for the culture. Maybe he wasn't seeing that. But what she could see is that she wasn't getting the cut through. And so something was missing in her communication. As leaders, we've always got to look at what's missing here as an opportunity for my learning and development, that's not changing out there. Yes. And so as she started to see that she was stuck in trying to help him and give him great advice, but not actually coach him, because coaching is very different to helping. It's very different to being a good person. It's very different to having good intentions. Coaching is a real cut through skill that we can separate the noise from what's really going on and then start to unlock more potential in our people. So when this leader understood, she could see for herself, as she was talking, she could see for herself, oh, I can see what I've been doing. Right, I've got clarity. I know now what I need to go and do. I need to shift from encouraging and helping into really holding this person accountable in new ways. So that's what we'll talk about today. All right, so what have you got for me? Having an open mind, carving out time to coach, reinvigorating my leadership coaching skills, bringing them front of mind, bring out the best in others. An open mind, very cool. How to better pick up signals. Oh, I love that one. That's a nuance, isn't it, Alessandra? How do I pick up skills? And that's about our listening and our empathy, which is a really important part of coaching. But there's a real boundary we need to put around our empathy, isn't there? Because people who are empathetic naturally are very good coaches, or can be very good coaches. It's just about whether they sort of go over that tipping point and start to save and rescue and help. Yes, so we've got to be aware of that. Be a stronger role model. Amazing. Thank you, Leanne. Listen for the questions, not to give the answers. How to develop to become a better leader and coach. Very good. Reinforcing my current skill set. Amazing. Thank you, Jackie. And how to recognize in the moment, how to ask questions. And this is, Vicky, this is one of the most exciting spaces of coaching, is that it's in the moment, it's dynamic. Now we can have formal coaching sessions one-on-one with our team or people around us that we might want to collaborate with. But dynamic on-the-go coaching is one of the most exciting skills of a leader, as well as the most powerful and influential. And that's the piece that I would love you to start to work on even more today as well. All right, so very good. So why coaching? Why are coaching skills important for leaders? And so for me, we build teams that lead change and can adapt to disruption quickly with less effort, but also over time without fatiguing. Now that to me is rockstar, because with the last 2 years have taught us constant change and disruption and emotion are draining. I had an amazing leader share with me the other day that people are just exhausted over the last 2 years. Yes, I bet you're feeling that. I bet a lot of people are saying that to you as well. But there's something else going on there. It's not just the last 2 years. It's that we haven't been able to process our experiences and emotions about the last 2 years that are all bottled up inside. Yeah. And that's what's exhausting us. So I'm not dismissing or discounting the last 2 years. And also, we look into the experiences that we're acknowledging and seeing at the moment in our own country and around the world. So we're leaning into even more disruption, aren't we? And fear and change and uncertainty. So that's one thing, but then it's about how we navigate that and how we allow ourselves to be human inside of that. And so coaching skills, being a coach like leader and manager, you help your teams change, lead change, adapt to disruption, right? So that they can tap into their innovative thinking, but also over time without fatiguing. And that to me is where every leader and manager developing these skills can have impact, support their people to be sustainable in their leadership, but grow their own leadership brand and career and be very valuable to their business. And that isn't worth, that's worth talking about, I reckon. So that to me is really exciting. All right, so grab your pen. And I'm going to be checking the chat box for questions. So if you have questions, because I'm a coach, and I'm going to be sharing one of these things with you in a moment around one of the 7 points, but the co-creation is everything. So if you ask me a question, we can go deeper, yes? And it tells me where you're at in your thinking, and I can serve you even more. All right, so I want to tell you about some other things about why coaching. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to see this. I'm going to bring this in a little bit. Tell me if you're not able to see this. If I write that on. So why coaching? Yeah. So it mobilizes talent. Can everybody see that? And if not, I can bring it in closer. It builds agile teams. Now, a lot of, we hear that word agile about organizations wanting to be agile. An organization cannot be agile if we don't have agile mindsets. Yes. So if people are stuck in their personality, or let's say their behavioral profile or their default preferred style of communicating and leading, that's not agile. We need to mobilize mindsets before we can make leaders and teams and organizations agile. Yep. We want to distinguish collaboration, which I love this distinction, from being polite. Being polite and a good person is not necessarily collaboration, robust conversations. Coach-like skills help us with that, yes? Jackie, you can see it, thank you. It helps us navigate emotions and triggers. So coach-like skills help us deal with the emotions coming at us of other people and not trigger ourselves, or if we do trigger, come back to presence and a state of empowerment really quickly. Have you ever had that experience? I'm sure you have, where someone said something to you and you've triggered and off you go in your head. And the conversation's happening around you and you're not there. You're somewhere else in your trigger, wondering about why they said that to you, what that meant, how dare they? Yes, I had one of those recently. And then I realized I'd been gone for a little while and came back. And it's like, okay, I need to reset and presence myself. That can be one of the challenging things. So coach-like skills help us do that more quickly, because as Dr. Joe Dispenza says, it's not about not reacting. It's about how soon we bring ourselves back to a state of presence after reaction. That's the power. Yeah, that's the power of coach-like skills. And then the last one, and this is so important now in this climate, when we think about the great resignation and people looking for, what do I really want now? Last 2 years have been hell. And look what I'm looking at now in the world. I want to actually invest now in what I want. It's worth it for me to take some risks, to reassess, to be thinking about what my heart really desires. So people are questioning their jobs. They're questioning you if you're a leader and manager. They're questioning the organization. They want to know, is this the place for me? And you might be thinking that yourself. So coaching skills will help you attract and retain top talent, because people want to be invested in. People want to learn and grow, and they want their managers to care about them and take that time, as you shared earlier, to coach. Yeah, I love my job, but I'm not growing. Yeah, so if I'm not going to grow anymore and I can't see a pathway for that, I'm going to find somewhere that will do that for me and with me. So coaching is a state of partner, walking beside, working with people, yeah, helping people move through their blocks and challenges. So this real state of facilitation of transformation is what being coach-like is all about. So I'd love to know which one is really hot for you right now. It might be for you personally, or it might be for you as a leader and coach. So which one is it? Building agile teams, mobilizing the talent that you have, unlocking their potential, getting into more collaborative conversations rather than people being polite with each other, navigating emotions and triggers, your own and others coming at you, helping your people reset more quickly, being a partner with people, or attracting and retaining top talent? I'm keen to know what your key one is. Please write that in the chat box now. I'd love to hear. Building agile teams, collaboration. Is there an all of the above option? Yeah, certainly is. You know, grab a few and take them. Yeah, for sure. Partnering with people. Thank you, Alison. Collaboration versus polite. Yep. Navigate emotions and triggers. Building agility. Beautiful. All of the above. Yes. Fantastic. So we're in the right place, yes, for this conversation this morning. All right. So can you see that this is one of the most fantastic conversations you could ever have when you're a leader or manager? Now, that could be being a leader of your own life too, because coaching helps us do that, because we wake up more to our reactions, yes, and we can reset ourselves to our own alignment. So it's just as helpful for us. All right, so I would like to, I think I just want to quickly put up this poll. You've sort of answered it, but I'm just going to give everybody the chance to answer this question on reflection. So what's your biggest challenge in being more coach-like right now? So there's 4 options here. Slowing down long enough to actually listen. And I know it might be hard to pick one of these as well. Knowing what questions to ask. Feeling confident to try. I've got to shift out of telling people what to do, and I've got to stop and listen and actually find some great questions. Or the last one is getting started. I don't know, I'm here, I don't really know how to start coaching. Is that you? So I'd love to know what your key challenge is right now in this moment. And thank you so much for filling that out. All right. Got it. Okay, this is really interesting. There's a few more people to complete, so thank you so much for doing so. And right now, the winner, I'll tell you in a moment once everyone's done it. Yeah, really interesting. Thank you so much. Okay, so there's a few more people still completing. One of the things that has become really obvious for me working with leaders and managers is that leaders and managers are expected to do a lot and want to do a lot themselves, but don't always have the skills. And even though they've been in their career for a long time. Yep. So when someone starts their management leadership career, of course, they haven't been trained, they haven't been developed, and often they don't get that support. But even when we've been in our career a long time, so many leaders that I work with, they're high-performing experts at what they do, and they just haven't had the time, invested the time, or been invested in. And so there's nothing wrong with having gaps in our skill set, yes, around this. All right, so guess what? The winner was knowing what questions to ask. So the next one was feeling confident to try a new approach. The next one was getting started, and then slowing down and long enough to actually listen was the last one, came in last. Now, that's surprising to me because it's a conversation I hear a lot that, just the slowing down. And I think probably slowing down is true for everyone in some way, but if we had to pick one, that's what we've picked, is the questions to ask. So thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to end that, and I'm going to quickly share the results with you so you can see that. We've got about 40 people on the session this morning, and almost everybody has completed it, I think. So thank you so much for sharing, and I really appreciate you reflecting. And so what I understand about the questions is, someone asked me this recently again, and I did a video on this a while back, last year maybe. What questions do I ask? How do I know when to ask a question? When do I, how long do I listen for and then ask the next question? And my answer to that is, if you're worried about the question, you're starting in the wrong place. Yep. And I know that's like, oh, hang on, I'm here to learn more questions, and you will. But it's actually the wrong place to start, because being coach-like is 2 levels. It's the being of the coach, and it's the doing of the coach, right? And if you've worked with me before, which some of you have, or been on these sessions before, our state of being, which is made up of our thoughts and our feelings, is everything. So if I'm not being coach-like, but I'm trying to coach, it's not going to go well. it's going to come across as advice, pretending to be coaching. Yes? So we want to understand what the being of a coach is first, and then we add on the practical skills. So I'm going to give you a bit of both today. Yes? Because I could give you lots of great questions and give you a list of questions, hint, hint, to those people who have received a list of questions in the last few weeks. But that's not going to help if you're not practicing the being. You guys with me? So we're going to look at that first, and then I'm going to give you some hot tips around questions. All right, you guys with me? Okay, so I'm going to run this off quickly. I want you to think about, now that you've answered that poll, when you're worried about the questions to ask or trying to slow down and listen or know where to start, what happens for you? What happens for you when you're in that state? You're like, oh, I don't know what question to ask now. And then you kind of wrap it up. Or, you're busy in your day and, I just don't have time to stop and have that conversation because I know it's going to take half an hour and I don't have it. What happens for you on the inside? Or you're worried about getting started, right? What happens for you? Do you open up? Do you close down? Do you worry more? And do you just stay stuck in, I know I've got to do it, but I never do? I know I've got to have that difficult conversation. I know I've got to deliver feedback, but I just keep putting it off. It closes it down, doesn't it? So what we want to do as a coach is open, keep our heart open, keep our mind open, keep our curiosity open. Yeah, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So what I find is that because leaders are so busy and they want people to take on more responsibility so that they can elevate into strategy. Yeah. So Elizabeth's sharing, I think when you worry, others can see right through you and lose confidence in your message. So true. Well said, Elizabeth. I'm hoping everyone's seeing that. Yes, it's to everyone. Yeah, when we're in our own head and we're worried about the next question, or I don't know how to do this, I don't know where to get started, all that's valid, not dismissing that. But I just want you to notice when you're there, there's no questions that can come because you're in stress and there's no new thinking there. Yeah. So leaders are busy. They want their people to take on more responsibility, and they need to, because we need to be elevating up into strategy at every level of leadership and management, no matter which one you're in. Yep. So if you find yourself in the detail and the doing, in the weeds, you got to look in the other direction. Go, okay, where do I need to be? Here's the kicker. Leaders think that their people don't want more responsibility because they're already busy. That actually is a myth. People are coming to you, they want to learn and grow, but they want to do it in environments that feel safe and trusted and that they can fail. And one of the things I'm most proud of the work that we do is that we create spaces where people can be very nervous and scared to try something new, but they lean in anyway. And then after they've done that, they feel like the best they've ever felt, like they feel like a true rock star themselves. They walk out of the room taller and bigger and knowing themselves way more powerful. And that to me is everything. Yep. And so that's returning people to a state of their own natural empowerment, letting go of the stories in their head. So that's what we do now when we're coaching, we're working with leaders and teams and helping them develop these coach-like skills. We've got to practice it. And you've got to know that your people do want to develop. And if you keep that understanding close by, it will help you lean in and have those difficult conversations. Yeah. So very good, Jackie. I don't hear what the next question is, so I don't hear the current answer in depth to feed off. So good. So a lot of people do that, yes? And so we can think if someone starts finishing their answer, well, we're already on to the next thing because we want to know the right answer. We don't want silence. We're so scared of silence and space, aren't we? But coaching is very much about that. Oh, that's a great question, Leanne. So Leanne asks, as the person at the other end of coaching, so being coached, you can bring the coaching session back to focus when your leader is coaching you, but they either go off track or bring emotion into the situation. So good. And what I share with you now will help, but also just to answer that question directly, because I think it's a very valid question, is, so I just want to check back in on, I'm just, on the fly here answering this question now. Just want to check back in on the goal that we're working towards here together. So I just want to realign on that, because I think we've gotten distracted, or maybe we've got off topic. And I know that your time is valuable, and so is mine. So can we just reset on the goal? Because I want to make sure that I'm as productive as I can be. So when we're in a state of being coach-like, even when we're being coached, and staying present and not triggering off them, that's when we can ask those kind of questions or request a reset. Yeah. So and this is so good, and it opens up this whole other conversation, Leanne, about where we go when there's emotions around us. Most people will collapse into other people's emotion and try and save them and rescue them, or separate from them. Yeah. So this is a powerful piece here that I just want to stop and highlight. Most people will try and collapse in by saving. Oh, they're there. Oh, you'll be right. I know. It's awful, isn't it? Right? No. So they'll save them, they'll help them, they'll rescue them. Now, there's some great stuff on this in the Coaching Habit, the book. MBS is his name, Michael Bangay-Stanya, who does the Advice Monster stuff. That's, he talks to this, which is really great. So we either collapse into it, or we'll try and avoid the emotion. Neither of those is coaching, neither of those is helpful, neither of those will change anything, right? You just have to continue avoiding emotions, pretending they're not there, and people just get more and more exhausted, or yourself, or you'll diminish people's experience and the emotion won't process and won't be released or let go, and you'll be left with helping people and you'll be exhausted. Yeah. So you've got coaching skills is about cutting through and not being trapped in this space of not knowing how to deal with emotions. It's kind of like we either deny, avoid, save, or pretend. So don't do any of that. I hope that's helpful. All right. So coaching is not convincing, advice giving, and it's not barracking. Okay. That's not what coaching is. It's none of that. Yes, the book is The Coaching Habit. And Nat might grab that link off Booktopia or something like that. So as a leader manager, you've got to know that your people want to be grown. They want to be held accountable. They want to be challenged. And if you're not doing that and you've got a story in your head that they don't want that, that's on you. Okay, there's research that tells us people want that. If you think for yourself, you want to grow too, but you want to grow in a space that's safe, that you can fail and you can learn and you can experience how great you can be. Yes? So coaching is not convincing or barracking. So coaching is, right, I'm going to put this model up now for you. I'm just going to check time. Perfect. All right, so let me know if I'm missing any questions. Remember I said before, the being of a coach is the foundation, and then it's the doing. They're very different things. And with one and not the other, you're not going to be as effective as you could be, and you're not going to achieve the results that I've talked about today. Building agile teams that are able to respond and innovate through disruption over time without fatiguing. Like, who doesn't want that? All right, so here's the model I want to share with you. So this is you as a coach, or being coach-like. Now, there's 7 things I'm going to give you here, and I'm going to do a couple of little things under each, and I want to hear your questions. Ask me if something's not clear, and ask me to go deeper if something's inspired within you. So the first thing about being, so it's about being and doing, right? And so if you go back to the ontological model of be, do, have, which is ontology is the study of being human, yes? And be, do, have is about who we're being, because that drives our behavior and that drives our results. Most human beings try and get all the words, what questions do I ask? And what do I have to do? Yeah, they try and get all the words and actions right without taking care of what their mindset is doing and how they're feeling and what energy they're bringing. And if you're doing all this but not this, things will just stay the same. And you'll wonder why your people keep coming back to you with the same questions, or nothing changes in your life. Yeah. even though you're working harder and you're a really good person. Doesn't matter. I tried to be a very good person for a very long time and didn't make the difference in the results that I wanted. Yeah, I'm not saying don't be a good person, but if you're not aware of what's happening inside of you and you're just focused on that, it'll keep you stuck, working hard, exhausted, burning out. All right. So the first thing is I want you to clear. So clear yourself. So this is about this, as I said, it's about your mindset. So before you coach, you've got to know, what am I taking in? What am I taking into the session? If I'm coaching on the go, on the fly, phone call, Zoom, whatever that looks like, what am I taking to this conversation? Yeah. Am I present or am I in my own head? What stories do I have about this person? What's the evidence that I've collected over time that tells me they'll be open or not open to this conversation? What are the truths? What are the beliefs that I have that are going to impact how I serve this person, how I'm able to be with them and open up something new for them, yeah, or facilitate that? So you've got to clear yourself. Yeah, you with me? Now, this is about, so you need to leave your stuff at the door. And that's obviously a metaphor. If you're getting on the phone, just leave it on the other side of the conversation, come back to your stuff later. But you can't take your stuff. Remember I shared with you the leader I was talking about earlier? She had her stuff about this person. She'd collected evidence over time about how he was. And she was just relating to him with those filters on. And I go like that because it's like the racehorse with the blinkers, yes? And she couldn't see him any other way. And so that's how he kept showing up for her. Yes? So leave your stuff at the door. Yes? You with me? All right. Number 2. Then it's about the container. So as I said to you, there's 7 things. Yeah. So the container is about it's about the goal, and this is about the now. Right? So this is about creating. You have to get clarity. And what I know about leaders and managers, they don't spend enough time in getting clear on the goal. Coming back enough times to the goal to go, hang on, what is it that we want here? What is it that we're working towards? Let me just get clear on what you want out of this conversation, or let's agree on where we need to be. We don't spend enough time there. Leaders and managers, because you're experts at what you do, you get stuck in the weeds and stuck in the talking about the problem without first getting clear on the goal. So you need to get clear on the goal, go deep there, and then get clear on the now. What's actually happening now? What are the results now? Stay there long enough to get awkward and uncomfortable. And that's when you'll start to facilitate their breakthrough or have a breakthrough yourself. Yeah? So I'm giving you the headline and I'm giving you a couple of things underneath it. I'm hoping that you're writing furiously and that this is helpful. I'm going to stop about halfway and hear from you. And then the third one is commitment. Right? What are you committed to? You have to be committed to their breakthrough. And you have to be committed to, I'm thinking of some of you on this call that I know, you have to be committed to being present. And so when we want to be right, when we're just waiting for people to stop talking so that we can give our opinion, yeah, or we're going in with our truth about people, we're not being present. We're being right, and we're just waiting for them to hurry up and know what we know already, right? That's not coaching. That's not being coach-like. That's just going to keep your people stuck and keep you stuck. So you've got to be committed to their breakthrough and being committed to being present. And it's okay if you go off into distraction land. Come back. Just go, oh, hang on, I didn't hear what you just said. Say that again. I really want to know what you just said. Yep. And then the fourth one, before I stop and hear from you, is about connection. Are you noticing a little like pattern here? So coaching, CO, yeah, container, commitment, connection. I can't explain the CO, I'm not sure about that. So connection is about, is trust present now? Now, your people, you might make an assumption that your people are coachable, or they've said they're coachable. That doesn't mean they are. You've got to fine-tune your listening to make sure that they're coachable in the moment, ongoing. And that could change through that one conversation. They could become uncoachable because they've been triggered by something you said, yes, or they're off in their own head. So you've got to be listening for, are they coachable? And it's just about, are they with me? Is there rapport here in this moment? You know when there's rapport or not, right? You know that, whether it's with your friends, your family, and that feeling of, oh, they get me, oh, they're here with me. Yes, you've got to check in and know if that's present in the moment. Yes. And then, are they coachable, as I said? And then, or are they guarded? If you said, look, I want to have this, coaching conversation with you, are you coachable right now? You can ask that question. Do you feel like, you're open to that? Yeah. And then you start having a conversation, you're like, they're not. You can wrap that up. Say, look, I actually really want to think about this a little bit more. Let's wrap back round. Maybe go away and think about these 3 things and let's have another conversation. Yep. So if you keep pushing on, they're just going to put the guard up more. Yeah. So are they guarded or are they open? All right. So, and as I said, this can change anytime. What is the first comment under commitment? They're committed to their breakthrough. We need to be committed to their breakthrough, Sandra. So it's about them, not about us. So we're committed to their breakthrough, to new thinking or a new state of empowerment. Yeah, returning them back to a state of empowerment or growth. Yeah. All right. So out of these 4, I want to hear from you in the chat box. Oh, connection. Well, we just did a refresher, just in case we needed that. Are they guarded? Oh, the first comment, is trust present now? Is trust present now in this moment? Now. So we're always going to be listening for that. So you're welcome, Sandra. Is that the same if your leader, so Leanne asks, is that the same if your leader is distracted? Should we then take initiative? Absolutely. So it sounds to me, Leanne, based on your two questions around that, there's a leaning in opportunity here for you. Yeah, managing up. Yeah, so I feel like we keep getting off track here, and I really want to respect our time. I'm wondering if clarity might come if we wrap back around tomorrow, go away and have a think about it, because clarity is key, right? Everything is in clarity, and that's why, this is all about serving and supporting clarity. Yep, absolutely. So I want to hear from you. Please pop in the chat box now about what so far is helping. Any tips, attempts on attempting to reset if you've lost them? Very good, Jen. And so can you tell me a little bit more about what you mean by lost them? How do you know you've lost them? What are the signs that you're seeing or hearing? Well done, Leanne. I know that you'll get something from today, if you haven't already, to help you with that. Please let me know what's going to be different, what you're going to take from today. So Jen, yeah, maybe you share with me what's your evidence for you've lost them. That will help me answer that question. So please, in the chat box now, which one is connecting for you? Which one are you going to try so far? Are you going to, oh yeah, I've got to remember, I've got to clear myself, I've got to be aware of my mindset? Are you going to go, you know what, I haven't spent time getting clear on the goal, or I actually haven't held them accountable to what's happening now, and that's a conversation that I need to have? Or, you know what, in those conversations, I've been more about in my head rather than committed to their breakthrough and haven't really been present. Or I haven't checked in to see if they're coachable the whole way through. I've just assumed, and now I can see why they're not responding well to me, because they're guarded and I'm not checking in on that. So Juliana asked, what if people come to you? Should you ask them something before having the conversation? So Juliana, probably give me a little bit more information. When you say what if people come to you, is that what if they come to you for coaching? And should you ask them something before? Absolutely. So I, as a coach, I could make lots of assumptions when people come to me that they're coachable, and never do that. Ever, ever, ever. Never. Even when someone's in a program with me and they've purchased the program for themselves, yeah, never assume that someone's coachable in a moment. It's about who you're being to build trust every time. Yes, every moment. And that's a practice, not something we can cover off the whole thing today. And, same with leader. Can you imagine, we work a lot with big teams at all levels of leadership, but they haven't chosen to be in that program all the time. So their leader has said, you need to go to this program. And now here we are, our team, myself and my team, in front of this group of people. They haven't chosen to be there. Going into coaching in that place, no chance. It's about building trust, building rapport, building these things so that they feel that they can lean in and trust that space and then choose to be open for coaching. Yeah. So it's really easy to make assumptions or judgments. So resetting mindset, very good. Thank you, Alison. What else? I haven't heard from anyone else but Vicky. Excellent. Thank you, Vicky. Commitment and connection, recognizing when connection changes and how to acknowledge that and leaving it safe and open to come back to. Beautiful. Yes. So it's really you have to be connected within yourself to create connection with someone else. Did you just hear that, everyone? You have to be connected with yourself to create connection with someone else. If you're not connected here to yourself, you can't create authentic connection out there. You can create great relationships, you can create fun and joy, but you can't create connection that allows you to coach someone and cut through their noise and help them transform. Container, thank you, Sandra. Following up on goals, being accountable.
Karen, sorry to interrupt. Jen has also come back to you a bit as well.
Good, thank you. That was a voice from afar. Thank you, Natalie. You sense they've been triggered by something in the convo. This is so good, Jen. Thank you so much. I had this experience recently. So Jen asks, what if you feel like you've lost them and the signs are that they've triggered and that they're starting to get defensive and guarded, and you're like, okay, so clearly that's the sign to stop coaching. Yeah. And what I would do, for example, there's many things you could do, but here's a couple. So, okay, I'm sensing that maybe something that I've said has triggered you. Or I just want to check in. I'm feeling maybe the energy between us has shifted. Is that accurate, or is it something that is, I'm making up in my head? Or is there something here that maybe you're not saying that you need me to know and that you might not feel comfortable sharing with me? So there's quite a few things that you can say. Again, we're focused on actions, words and actions here, but it's all about who you're being. Because if they're triggered, then you're triggered. Good luck with those words, right? If they're triggered, you got to come back to, am I triggered here? And you might be, and that's okay too. But then resetting and then checking in. Because as I've shared with Alita previously, the one I spoke about, who asked me about what questions do I ask, we've got to keep coming back to, am I triggered or not? Because if you're triggered, it's not going to come across in a way that is going to open them up. Yep. Let me know if that's helpful, Jen, and happy to give more examples. So great. So Jackie says, I like the distinction of building trust and rapport rather than assuming that people are coachable. Connection is my challenge, says Elizabeth. I feel that others are often guarded. Yeah. Now, here's the thing about this is for everybody. People will be guarded. When you're in your busy mind, people are going to be guarded with you. You think about the people around you when they're really busy in their mind and they're in their head. You're not going to go and then disclose, I'm failing right now. There's no kind of presence there. There's no opening for that. So when you, meaning me, all of us, when we're busy in our heads, we've got to know that that's not a space where people are going to feel safe to be coached. Yep. All right, I'm going to keep going. Thank you so much for sharing. And I know that everyone's getting something from each other's shares. So the last three is, the fifth one is context and content. You've got to know how much you're in the weeds with your people. As I said before, because you're experts at what you do and you lead people in your expertise, it's going to be easy for you to get stuck in the problem, stuck in the weeds, and not elevate out into context and go, hang on, what's the goal here? Remind me what we're aiming for. You've got to be really clear on moving into the context. But here's a couple of things for you around actions. So you need to know what your default is, right? So knowing your preferred, do I like to stay in big picture? Am I a big picture thinker? Or am I someone who loves the detail and I really focus there? And you'll know that for yourself. That's easy. And then know that for your people as well. What is their default? Where do they? And I prefer to be in the big picture. Yeah. If you start talking to me about the blades of grass, but you haven't talked to me about the clouds, I'm not listening. I'm confused. I can't connect the dots. I have to know what's happening here And then I can come down and down and down into what I say, into the rain. I can see the rain falling, and then I can see the blades of grass, right? So think about where you like to be. You like in the clouds, maybe in the rain, maybe in the blades of grass, but know where your default is. And if you're speaking cloud language and your people are listening grass language, they can't hear you. And also you need to bring them up and down. So if they're stuck in the problem, they're likely going to be stuck in content. You need to shift them into context. Okay, so what's this really about? So write that question down. It's a great question. What's this really about? That's a question to get them out of the weeds, out of the grass and into the clouds. It will help them see some new things, yes? So be aware of your default, know theirs, know their default, right? And then shift them up and down with questions. And if they're stuck in the big picture and they're looping, they're like, there's nothing really sticking here for them, you might say, so what specifically is worrying you right now? Or what exactly do you mean by that? Or when you said that, can you say a little bit more about that? So those questions would take people into content if they're in the clouds and they're just talking big ideas and we're not going anywhere. Yeah. And that can be great in a meeting when you're wanting to be coach-like in a meeting, when there's a group of people and everyone's just going round and round in circles talking about big ideas. No one's getting anywhere, making any decisions. Yeah. So you ask those specific questions and use that language so you can cut through that noise. You guys with me? Okay, so 2 more. 6. Number 6 is about co-creation. Okay, so CEO, love it so much. Okay, co-creation is you don't work harder than they do in a coaching conversation. I never work harder than the people that I coach. And I coach all day, every day. And I call them out on it. And those of you who've worked with me on this call, you will know that. It's 100%. So everyone brings 100%. Doesn't mean you have to be all fine and dandy. You could be really angry and upset and frustrated with whatever's going on, but you're bringing 100% to the coaching, yes? Now, as a coach, I'm not talking about you being angry, but your people might come to you angry and triggered and frustrated. That's totally fine. They can still be coachable in that space, yeah? But it's a co-creation. You don't work harder than they do, okay? If you're coaching them and they're not applying the skills or the tools that you're teaching them, then you've got to have that accountability conversation. Otherwise, you're just exhausted repeating the same thing over and over. All right, and then the last one is the core skills of coaching, like the practical things, which are the listening. And as I say, it's listening for their greatness. You have to make the assumption that people have greatness within them to be able to coach them. If you think that they're as limited as their problem that they're facing, you won't be able to help them break through into new thinking. So you've got to listen for their greatness, okay? And also high quality questions, which start with what and how. So what's happening now in this situation? How are you going to move forward now that we've talked about this? What exactly is challenging you here? What's the real problem? Yeah. So the what and how questions are the best. And this is also the core skills is about allowing space and silence. Okay. All right. So we've got your 7 points here. So out of 5, 6, and 7, what are the ones that connect for you? Context and content, that might be a new distinction for you. I didn't realize that maybe we're different in how we think and our default style, and we're talking different languages. So now I need to, and they get stuck in one. So now I know how to shift them up and down. And because we're looking for a breakthrough, remember, we're looking for a breakthrough in their thinking when we're being coach-like. And remember, you don't work harder than they, and you start to listen for their greatness and high quality questions. So remember, this comes back to the being and the doing of coaching. And in a 1-hour session, I can only give you so much, yes? But I'm hoping that today has provided you with some of these great tools to think a little bit differently. So out of 5, 6, or 7, what's the one you're taking away? Share that now in the chat box, please. Wonderful, Jade. Thank you. Context and content is a struggle for me, says Alison. My head spins when people reel off the details. Yes. So Alison, so then if you're coaching someone and they're all in the detail, if they're coachable, you can just go, hang on a minute, just pause for a second. What's this really about? Bring them back up into the clouds, get that idea, and then come down if that works for you. Yes, because that will help them as well. Core skills, prepping the high quality questions. Yes. So go Google grow model questions, coaching questions. You'll find lots of different questions. You don't need me to tell you questions, although I do that as well. But this is the first step. You have to get the being right. So very good, Leanne. Thank you. Context and content. Ensure the focus is on the big picture. Both. We need both. Context and content. So big picture is important, but the detail is just as important. It just depends on where they're stuck, Marilyn. So Sian loves the co-creation. Don't work harder than them. I think that's a great one for you, Sian. Having clarity. Thank you, Mano. And the end goals. Yes. So this is my gift to you around coaching or being coached like as a leader and manager. I've been practicing this work now for a couple of decades, and it's something that I adore. You're not going to get all of this in a short period of time. We're doing lead as a coach, manager as a coach, being coached like with organizations. We're doing a lot of that work now because it's, as I said, it helps people coach like skills, build agile teams, unlock innovative thinking over time without fatiguing. All right, that's an asset to have, especially now in business and in your life. So if you'd like some more support around this, we're here to help you. Reach out. You know how to get in contact with me, Karen@KarenWilliams.com. Go to our website, send me an email. And if you're wanting to invest more for yourself in your own journey, in your own development, whether it's in coaching, whether it's in well-being and self-care, whether it's about relationships and healthy boundaries, whether it's about your passion and purpose, Nat's going to pop in the chat box, the Inner Circle 3-month program. If you'd like to start working with me, it's an easy access point to our work. And that program kicks off in April. So what a delight to spend this morning with you talking about coaching and being coach-like. I'd love to hear in the chat box the thing that you're taking away. What's your commitment to yourself? This last minute, what's a commitment you're making to yourself that you're taking from today, the one thing you're going to practice and apply? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to know what that is for you. Thank you so much for being here. Have an amazing Friday, and I'm going to hang around and wait for your comments in the chat box, and I'm going to take that with me in my day and know that this has been an hour well spent together, a co-creative experience. So thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Amazing. Well done. Love that question, Alison. What's this really about? I'm glad it was helpful, Alessandra. Thank you. Commitment, up and down questions, in and out of detail and big picture. Step up and step into the conversations, take control. Go, Leanne. Let me know how you go. I'd love to know. Listening in the moment to whether someone is coachable. Beautiful, Jackie. Thank you. Coaching versus helping. Thanks, Desiree. Yep. Go check out the Advice Monster video by MBS TED Talk. It's very good on the helping versus coaching. Truly committed and connected with self. What a powerful morning. I'm so pumped. Go, Lisa. And thank you. Your big takeaway is listening for greatness. What a powerful, optimistic view when people are in struggle. Yes, we are so much more than our behavior in a moment. We've all done things that we're not proud of or we've struggled with. We know that we're more than that. So if we can listen that in other people, it's a beautiful blessing for them. Thank you, Jade. Thank you, Mano, co-creating, listening to the greatness. Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Have a great Friday. I'll see you soon.